Hey everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is dedicated to Bleach, chapter 658, Fatal Matters Are Cold. Also, people die when they are killed. Just remember that. Anyway,
not really in this manga.
true enough. See here. And we open up with Askin doing his hair. Wait, thank you, now your Rayatsu can no longer kill me. At least Yorichi's not looking shocked at that. She's just noticing that your wounds have all healed.
And then he goes on to explain his ability again. We're not going to go over it. He's done it like 3 times already.
Yep. And then comes the most disappointing part of the chapter for me. The U0 Death Watch does not exceed 2 weeks.
Well, wait. We'll talk about that in a sec. But the first thing that Yorichi gets is another shock face. I mean, when I first saw this, I was already like, why? She's like the 6th time. In fact, it's happened so often that even Askin commented on it. He even said,
yeah, you're right.
Treat me shocked. He talked about how much Yorichi's giving those faces. I mean, this is ridiculous here.
Yep.
She's the former second division captain. Stop getting shot. At this point, expect the worst. Jeez.
Yep. At this point, Yushiro dives in for an attack of his own.
What a freaking idiot! What? How can this...
Dude, Yushiro, dude, I know your entire purpose in this manga is to die, but at least make it challenging.
Like, it just... This is like the last arc we should have when characters who actually know what they're doing, because at this point, having novices like this is just annoying us. Yes. We are too used to having, the really cool, awesome characters like Byakuya or when Ichigo at his best, do things that actually, matter. Yeah. And so having Yushiro just run in, despite the fact that Askin just like, what are you doing? And get pwned.
Yep.
It's just, and also and that's the thing though. Like he shined for 1 chapter. Is that all we can remember him for? I mean, that's what happens with a lot of these characters. They shine for 1 chapter, and then the villain's like, you didn't actually do anything, and then they get destroyed.
Yeah. In fact, he also got shot in the back while the guy was standing in front of him. How does that work?
I don't know. So anyway, he starts coughing up blood, and Yorichi rushes to him, and this is funny. He says, he's like, just as I expected, it took you far too long to finally realize my true power. You've been explaining it.
Well, he can't help it that his opponents are idiots.
Yeah,
evil shall always triumph because good is dumb.
Yushiro deserves to get shot. Yorichi's being stupider. I don't understand this. Like the craziest part is that the first part of this fight was her actually suspecting that he had something up his sleeve. That's why she wasn't affected by the poison radius. But now she just...
Yeah. Fortunately, the next part of the chapter makes up for things a little bit. Even if it doesn't mean we have to go back to Godzilla Thor.
Alright, so basically Gigantic Thor is like...
Gigantor, there we go, that's good. Gigantor, that's good.
So it's like a Gigantor is walking around trying to find the other Shinigamis, and we see the
I will say this one part. The part where he's kind of like just casually slouching, leaning against the buildings. Like, I like that. That's kind of funny.
So anyway, they're hiding, and it turns out that he can actually, he can actually register. He has a radar and he's like, well, your Rayatsu has gone small. So basically, the visors have gone into stealth mode.
I don't think he means radar in quite that literal a sense. I mean, I think he's just sensing them out as much as anyone else does.
No, that's what I meant. What I meant.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the words on the screen. So, but yeah, he can sense them. He doesn't actually have a radar.
Minor little note I just spotted on here. Page 12, bottom left corner. Manga stream misspelled peak.
Where?
Bottom left panel, where Hiyori is sneaking out.
What page?
Page 12.
Oh, page 12, okay. Actually, it was on that, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't see that.
I just spotted that. I was like, oh, hey, that's funny.
Alright, so anyway, it turns out that he can still find out what they are, because he says, even if it's small, it's still there, blah, blah, blah. And then Hiyori comes right behind his back. This is not gonna work. Just
of course not.
Just never work. And she puts on her mask!
Yay!
Whoa!
That's something you've been mentioning for a long time now, that the former visors are no longer using their masks.
And he uses... Well, I mean... They're different because they're not actually... They're not part of the Gote 13, unlike the other half.
And that's one thing I was going to bring up myself. Like, I was wondering if that was significant in some way.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that at the end. So she uses her Cero. It doesn't work. I guess the hollow, it's not strong enough even with the hollow advantage. And then the other visors who are not part of the Gode 13 also use their masks except for Hachi for some reason. So you see Love using his mask, you see Lisa using his mask, and they all appear right behind him. This is not going to work. And they use their Shinigami powers though. I think they do, and it doesn't work. He just throws them aside. Wow, way to really have a cool comeback, guys. You know, for was it?
Ha ha ha. Cool comeback.
So he's basically Gigantor's like, oh, like I'm bored now, blah blah blah.
I'm just gonna destroy the whole place.
Yeah, and then someone freezes his right arm.
Speaking of cool comebacks,
we see Hitsugaya still in his Nazi uniform, Quincy uniform, but it's basically the same thing. And saying like, "Do me a favor and stay frozen there for all eternity." He's not going to stay.
Oh, of course not. This is the opening blast. I mean,
yeah, and Hitsugaya's back, as we know, because he got quote unquote resurrected with by Mayuri's stuff, like machine.
Yay.
Okay, well, a lot of people have not really a big fan of this because it's the end of the chapter, by the way. So, just want to tell everyone that. A lot of people are not happy that Hitsugaya's back because they felt that we've already had enough of him, in the sense that we've already seen him fight once and twice and 3 times, whereas the other characters are not really given as much spotlight as Hitsugaya. And I understand that Hitsugaya is definitely one of the most popular. I think he was the most popular character for a long time. But
he's
I don't
up
know,
there.
Is he still number 1?
I don't keep track, but I'm sure he's up there.
He's definitely always up there. So I understand why, but at the same time, though, it's kind of like a lot of people feel that maybe it's time to give someone else a shot. Not that exchanging the fights. It feels like, I don't know. I think people are getting kind of tired of Hitsugaya. I don't know. Is that a correct assessment? I don't know.
I would say that's pretty accurate. I mean, the comments on the Bleach chapter here, actually, I'm on Arlong Park. I don't follow the TV tropes right on Bleach, but maybe I should, just to kind of see what people say about it.
Yeah, people in the comment section on manga seems to feel the same too. And you know what the guy says, like, you know, Hitsugaya always make these characters, but especially Hitsugaya, they always make a really cool comeback. But then the next chapter they get beat up. Like, that's the thing though. He's really awesome in this last panel, but we all know from experience that he's just gonna get his ass kicked in like either next chapter or the chapter after that. Eventually. So and then after that, someone's got to save his butt. You know. And also like we know that he's been partially holified, but we don't know. But at the same time, sort of like. You know,
you say that, and now I wonder. Could he? I mean, it wouldn't matter if he just got it, but could the reason that we're getting the Hollow Mask again now be to set up Hitsugaya?
But the problem is he hasn't trained as much as it. Like the other visors have.
That's my only point. That would be my only point of hesitation on there, to be honest. Yeah.
See, the thing is, though, like the visors, I get that Hiyori, Lisa, and Hachi are both lieutenants, and then Hitsugaya has obviously a higher base power.
Yeah.
But then there's Love, and they all gained up on Gigantor, and then they're not to mention that they have much more experience, and they're completely holified. Like the mask covers their entire face, meaning they have full access to the power. With the only exception being Ichigo, who has more power for some reason, because he's the main character. Hitsugaya doesn't have as much hollow powers as these guys, because remember, it's just a pill. The whole point of it was just to partially holify them, not completely.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It's just like we always get this whole Hitsugaya one day would become the best because he's a boy genius, but he's not there yet, and we've seen him fail so many times. Like do you know he has the record of unleashing the most Bankais?
He does.
He does. He has the record for unleashing the Bankai the most. Ichigo has the record for holding having his Bankai constantly the most. But in terms of activating it, it's Hitsugaya. He activates it like 6 times or something like that. Because he did it against Aizen. He did it against Xiaolong, whatever his name was.
I know. The first time I remember seeing used was in the initial Arrancar attack.
No, he did it against Aizen. When Aizen first appeared, he was the second ever to show his Bankai after Mayuri.
Oh, okay.
And then what was it? Yeah, second.
Well, it would have been Byakuya.
It's either him or Byakuya. I totally forgot. Yeah, it depends on. No, I think it's Byakuya who did it. He's the third ever.
Yeah, because all that would have happened after Byakuya's fight with Ichigo.
Yeah. With Renji too. Renji, because he showed his Bankai to Renji as well.
Yeah, but he did.
Yeah, he did. He beat Renji using his Bankai as like a reward when
Okay.
asked. So but he does have that record. I remember reading.
Didn't
about that.
Tosen use his Bankai against Kenpachi?
He did. It didn't work.
Well, but still, that was before Hichigaya, though, wasn't it?
Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I take back my thing. Whatever.
Okay.
Because I swear, so I feel like it was mentioned somewhere. Oh, well, maybe I misread it. I probably did that. But I'll say he had the coolest Bankai looking Bankai.
Haha.
Because I didn't do that intentionally. But I mean, it was really awesome though. Like Mayuri's is just weird, and then Tosen and Byaku's were kind of boring. I mean, like Byaku is just more of a Shikai, and then Tosen's kind of like an arena type of thing. You know, like he changes the environment. Whereas Hichigaya turns into a freaking dragon.
I do like how Kenpachi dealt with Tosen's though.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Because Kenpachi is awesome.
Yes.
But yeah,
you're right. Ice Dragon.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I pointed this out before too, that his clothes. I mean, I get that you're rushing to fight the Quincy, so you probably don't have the time. But I mean, it's just so it looks good on him on an aesthetic level, like just aesthetic. But then it still looks it's a Nazi-esque uniform. It doesn't.
It does not work.
It feels wrong. Let's put it up. It works on an aesthetic level. It just feels wrong otherwise.
Yeah. If it hadn't been already set up as the Quincy uniform, it probably would have been fine. At the very least, it wouldn't evoke the same imagery for us.
It just, yeah. I don't like their uniform. I feel like because the fact that they're German, and I don't know what the actual German uniform looks like, but I just feel like maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. It's just I don't feel right when I read it. I'm not gonna put that much into it though. And so the other thing that I want to point out is the visor. So we've now seen that. With excluding Hachi, but I'm sure he just doesn't use it that much.
Which I find odd, actually, because isn't he supposed to be the one that can use it the longest?
No, it was Mashiro Kuna.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. He was the one who did the barriers.
Yeah, so in fact, I think he used it the least out of all of them. So all the visors who did not join the Gote 13 are back, and they're using their hollow powers, their visor powers. Whereas the ones who did come back to the Gote 13 have not ever used it. And so there is a possibility that maybe they made a condition or some promise.
Yeah.
But as I said before, who cares? Like, that is such a stupid thing, because Ichigo, first off, used it a lot. And I mean, and then the fact that, them obtaining the powers is already against the law, so now that they have it, might as well keep using it. It's not like they're going to destroy the world by using it.
I know I'm the one who first suggested a condition before we started recording, but another thought comes to mind. Maybe the actual visors themselves chose not to use their masks, which is still stupid in this circumstance, but I could at least see them doing it.
It makes no sense even then, because you find out that the Quincy's have a weakness to hollow powers, and the fact that everyone is dying around you. That's
what I mean. Like it would be one thing to do it in peacetime.
Yeah.
But in wartime like this, unless there's something that actually stops them from doing it for some reason.
But here's the thing though, like the visor, the hollow powers, excluding for Ichigo, like they haven't been shown to have any negative effects on you. So I don't understand why they wouldn't use it at all. Is it just a more? That's the thing though. They even said that we're not really Shinigami anymore. We're both, and they've accepted their dual identity. So not using the hollow power kind of makes them reject that whole development they used to have, where they said, look, we're no longer Shinigami. We are visored. Hiyori was big on that. I know that's why she didn't feel good wearing the I forgot what they call the Shinigami uniform.
Yeah, I can't remember it either, but I know what you mean. The black robe, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and you can say that's probably why she didn't come back. Well, I mean, I think these visors didn't come back because there was just no room for them. I mean, Mashiro came back because she basically made up her own rank, which is actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Super lieutenant. But I mean, yeah, it's just been really. Actually, next said, wait. Mashiro uses her visor powers when she's back with the.
True.
So what the fuck? Now you just make it even more confusing.
Or maybe we're just overthinking this and expecting too much.
No. We have every right to be, because this is a sensible thing. It's part of the plot. The Quincy's have a weakness to the Hollows, at least somewhat of a weakness.
Yeah. At the very least, it repels their Bankai theft.
And half of the captains are visored. So this deserves explanation. You know what I hate about this is that you can come up with a lot of bullshit reasons why they're not using it, but they didn't explain this to us, to the audience. Like, we have to speculate. There is no point in speculating, because this is just like every time they don't use their powers, the audience is just gonna say, why aren't they using their powers? And no matter what reason you can come up with, it makes why doesn't Kubo tell us? Like, if it's I just don't understand why I wouldn't tell us, because it makes narrative sense for us to know why they're not doing it, because otherwise we're just gonna be questioning the visor's decisions over and over, you know? Look, there's some things that you don't tell the audience. That I understand that. This is something that you must tell the audience, because again, it makes no sense for them to do this decision.
Right.
And if they tell us why after all this time, it doesn't change the fact that we spent like 2 years just being like, what the frick? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth the whatever plot twist that you can come up with for why they're not using the powers.
Right. I mean, if the way this kind of thing goes, if it does get explained, it's probably gonna be some weird little mini flashback in the midst of the fight.
The issue is that it should not have been this long. Like, if you're going to explain why, you have to do it before all this stuff, because then we wouldn't have our time.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be questioning anything like this, you know?
Yeah, because enough time's gone by that the fridge logic is setting in.
It actually helps the story, because then the audience can understand at least some of the nuances of what's going on. You know, there's no reason to hide this information. It makes it worse, actually. You know, because this is not something that we have for a plot twist. This is logical. It is logical to assume that they would use their hollow powers against an enemy that has a weakness to hollow powers. It is so any sensible person would be like, why aren't you using it? And Kubo can't just be like, I'm not going to tell you. Why not? Why aren't you telling us? You know, how would telling us like destroy the story anyway? If anything, it would help us understand what's going on. And if there's something extra that you don't want to tell us, fine. But at least for now, at least point out this discrepancy. Point it out, saying, "Oh yeah."
Have someone mention it somewhere.
Yeah, make them say, "Oh, we made that promise," or "We made this something," or just say, "Yes, we're not using our visor powers. We can't exactly tell you why, but there's a reason why we're not." And then the audience will at least be satisfied with that, because then we know that there's a reason why they're not doing it, other than just them being stupid. Because that's the problem. Instead of thinking to ourselves, "Oh, it's because of this reason," that we may not know yet, and that's totally fine. They're just being stupid.
Right.
You know, that is the problem I have. That is the problem. So that's the thing with visors. And also they've been really hyped. They were hyped for such a long time in the Iranka arc.
Yeah.
And they disappointed, and they come back. They were really awesome for one panel.
A piece.
Yeah. And then they got destroyed again.
Shinji had his whole thing. He had a cool Shikai, explained its power, and then Aizen listened.
It's never worked. And he used it against Bambita, and he's just like, I'll just explain everything. It's like, oh well, shit. So
omnidirectional, which actually is a pretty clever way of dealing with that.
It is, but at the same time, it's like, well, that means Shinji has done absolutely nothing. Even Tekken 101, who is a Bleach reviewer, is just like, what the frick is wrong with this with Shinji? Like the visors have been done really hard in this manga, and I feel like they unfortunately, I think they did miss the opportunity. But at the same time, that doesn't change. That doesn't mean they can't at least be cool at certain parts, rather than just have a one panel thing. One panel to shine. Okay, now going back to the first part of the chapter, the chapter, Yushiro being stupid. Okay, so I know you are really big on Yushiro dying and all that.
Yeah.
I actually don't like. I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like Kubo. Like the thing is, what stuff from Kubo just saying, nah, I changed my mind, or I never meant to. Like it's just like I feel like we're doing we're being really on the edge, just trying to predict what Kubo's gonna do here,
True. I mean, like I said, the Yushiro's only hope for survival is to Kubo do what Oda does. Like, just spare his life at the last moment for whatever reason he feels like.
I think that's what they're gonna do. And the problem is Yushiro hasn't his sole purpose of being here. I think it wasn't his sole purpose to bring like some type of like artifact or whatever.
Or at least provide them with the way into the place, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
That big old kite thing.
Yeah, I mean Yushiro could easily be healed. I mean, she just got I was gonna say she. He just got shot.
He's a boy.
He got shot like once or twice, and I honestly, it's not that big a deal. I've seen Shinigami get shot like. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's like technically Shinigami, but I guess he technically is. I don't know, but I've seen people get shot by arrows like a bunch of times. He's obviously injured, but maybe now Yorichi's gonna be like, I'm gonna use my Shikai, and then this is where I could be awesome. Because let's face, I'm a Yorichi fan, and honestly, one of the last favorite character actually. Now that I think about it, I don't want her. I mean, on a subjective level, I don't want to see her be slapped around a bit. And on an objective level, I mean, she has been really awesome, but she's always kept her powers kind of like under control, in check. So I want to see her actually, do something with the Shikai or Bankai, because she has it,
Yeah.
And again, she's a hand-to-hand combat. Okay, fine. What if her Shikai was, if anything, was not really a weapon, but like it was a weapon in the sense that it armors her up or makes her more powerful in terms of hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
And maybe her Bankai does something even similar to that. Like it doesn't like we know that the Chikais don't always have the average sword form. There can be something completely different. I mean, freaking Byakuya is a bunch of petals, like small swords that turn into like cherry blossom petals. So. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of artistic thing you can do here. So I don't know. There's this. I don't know. I was really happy to see the mask. I was really disappointed on everything else. The mask come back though. I mean,
yeah.
But at the same, but even with the mask, it brings back all these questions. So I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, now I think about it.
Yeah. Well, I said the masks were cool, and I do like how like Gigantor was like just chilling on the building like a boss. I really don't care about Ichigaya. I'm fine with him being there or not being there. I could not care less.
Hasn't he been screwed over or something? How many times has he lost a fight? He lost against Aizen.
Well, wait, better question. How many times has he won a fight?
Once.
There you go. After that, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, because Kiba does that whole thing where you basically win a fight and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my just big disappointment is that the Yushiro Death Watch didn't even last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we will until he actually kicks the can.
Yeah,
and
or appears to.
And let's see if Orihime can't do anything about that, because we don't know how the Quincy powers affect Orihime's powers, because we know that Quincy powers exterminate the soul completely. At the same time, though, Orihime's powers are really inconsistent, so who knows what she can do.
Yeah.
So even if he does die, maybe he gets resurrected. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like that would probably fall into pulling the Oda thing I mentioned earlier.
It's even worse, because the resurrection powers are so OP.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's why he made it so inconsistent, so that because he changes his mind because he feels like this is so OP.
Maybe,
Too bad,
but
you already put it in the story. You can't take it back.
And you already had her resurrect people from pieces.
Yeah, and Hachi can resurrect people from nothing at all when he resurrected Tsubaki. So he resurrected one of Orihime's powers. That's kind of the weird Inception thing. Orihime's powers got resurrected. It's kind of weird, but okay. So I think that's about it for Bleach. I mean,
yeah. Yep, and for the Yushiro Death Watch until further notice.
He's not dead yet.
Well, he's close enough.
In this manga, being close enough doesn't do anything.
True. I mean, most of the characters are technically dead already.
But even then, like you can see, like how many times has Byakuya been on the point of look how long Byakuya was on the brink of death in that on that really huge like 5-chapter span. How many characters have been impaled? Ichigo's been impaled like a bunch of times, and a lot of other characters have been like stabbed, and I mean Kenpachi got his throat stabbed. So. No, being at the brink of death in Bleach doesn't mean anything. It just means you're not fighting for a while. You can easily come back later. I mean, hell, we have people who are technically dead. We have the two Vise, Rose and Kensei are technically dead. So
yeah,
no. and Renkyuka got a throat slit. There.
Yeah, so you're right. It's still too early to call that off. We'll see.
Way too early.
Yep. So in the meantime, that has been our review of Bleach, chapter 658. Yeah. Fatal matters are cold. People die when they are killed. That last part is my own. Take us away.
Hi.